let's get started with the Rams. Vince, what were your thoughts on Sunday's game?
Well, nice to get a team that's shorthanded like Houston in, to kind of get well. They had their first home game in a little while, and it took them a little getting back on track there. The first half was, the first part of the first half was just not great, but then the interception late and taking the lead and just never relinquishing it. The Rams offense is just so dynamic this year, and it just made me scratch my head and wonder, does Jeff Fisher ever get another job? My God, how bad did he have that team? My God. Now, look, the offseason moves that the Rams made really have made a big difference. They shored up their offensive line. The Andrew Whitworth free agent signing was the biggest deal in the offseason. And they just kept putting weapons and more weapons with Watkins and Woods. And, so.
Isn't McVay doing most of the play calling, though? Yeah, well, that's a huge difference right there.
And it's just so dynamic, and it's just so exciting to watch. I mean, last year you would just watch Todd Gurley run into the line of scrimmage and then fall forward for a half yard, and it was disgusting. And now it's just so dynamic because every time in your head you're thinking Gurley's got the ball, there's some wrinkle to it, a nice fake reverse, to Woods, scores a touchdown, a great long pass to Watkins. Just a lot of great plays and just so exciting to see.
They're hard to defend now.
Yeah,
really
sure.
hard to defend.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just jump right in, Corey.
No problem. Yeah, I like the fact that they're using Gurley out as a wideout as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of the backfield, catching so much more, and bringing Austin in as a running back or a tailback. I mean, the guy's doing an awesome job. But that was a great flip flop by McVay.
Yeah, for sure. They have so many weapons, and McVay was also sort of looking at tight ends. That was sort of his forte, and drafting some tight ends and shoring things up, and those positions have been dynamic. But the way that he's used his backfield and bringing Tavon Austin into the backfield, as Corey was saying, and then spreading things out, even Farrell Cooper and Cooper Kupp, and these guys are just. Goff is distributing the ball. He's getting good protection. It is a different team with a better front line.
Different.
Yeah, completely. And because we knew their defense was going to be good. Their defense was going to be stellar. It's an A class. It's a world class defense.
Defensive won them the only games they won last year.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And this offense is just.
They're
clicking.
Stacked. They're absolutely stacked. But also, you look at Goff, man. He's setting his feet now. He's you can see him going through the progression, and he's hitting the open guy. He's not making things, trying to force things.
Right.
He's hitting the open guy and hitting him well. I mean, he's throwing some nice balls. That ball to Robert Woods was outstanding.
No, it was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. He is playing with such confidence. His arm looks great. Yeah. But the key is protection. It was always about protection, and the biggest thing, So if you had Jeff Fisher and you were indicting him now, and you said, he said, well, I didn't have an offensive line. I could have gotten the job done too. I doubt it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. He's in exile in Montana or Wyoming or wherever, and that was a bad team for many years under Jeff Fisher.
Yeah. Well, they never had a winning season. I think they had a 500 season, but never a winning season.
Exactly.
Rams scored 33 points in each of their last two games, so they're going to put the points on the board. Let's look a little bit towards Sunday. That's going to be a big game at Minnesota. Minnesota's 7-2. They've got a good ball club, and of course our buddy Keenan is their quarterback.
Ironically, yeah. Case Keenum coming up, and Case Keenum's been playing great.
He has, and it's going to be an interesting game. I'm looking at the remaining schedule. The Rams have that one-game lead on Seattle, but they've got a little tougher road to hoe down the stretch. They play the Vikings 7-2 this week. Then they're at home against the Saints, who are also 7-2.
Great game.
Then after a hopefully not a trap game against the Cardinals, you get the Eagles 8-1, Seattle 6-3, and the Titans 6-3. Now not Seattle, but the Vikings, Saints, Titans are all in first or sharing first. The Packers the teams that the Packers play between now and the end of the season, their last 7 games, have a combined record of 36-28, and the Rams are 39-25. The Packers did not play the Vikings. The Seahawks did not play the Vikings or did not play the Saints. They had the Packers and the Falcons, so they got a little bit of a break there. Those 2 teams are 10-8. The 2 teams the Rams playing are 14-4. But it's going to be a little bit of a struggle down this. I'm not saying they can't do it, but they're going to be thoroughly tested, I think, in the next second half of the season. They've got some teams that are really really good, really strong, and they're going to get some of those games on the road. They get the Vikings on the road, they get Seattle on the road, and they get Tennessee, who's tied for first. They get them on the road.
Yeah, the Viking team too. The Viking team just came off a big win in Washington, on the road in Washington. Yes. Kirk Cousins had a great game, but the Viking defense is just, they're scoring some serious points as well. So it's going to be a great test. This will be a great test for Goff and for the Rams offense.
Yeah, for me, I look back at that loss at home to the Skins and think, boy, little breathing room if they had been able to come back there and get that win. Yeah. That was probably the last time Goff really made a just terrible mistake, was that interception that sort of ended the game against the Skins at the Coliseum. And you look at that and you start thinking, wow, that would have given them a little breathing room, because like you said, Saints, Vikings, those games, a Seahawks game, it's, and the Saints as well. I mean, they're
good teams.
They're good
Saints
teams.
are on fire too. They won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Scoring like crazy.
What about that first game of Seattle? That was 16-10. Didn't they fumble the ball in the end zone in that game, or not?
Yeah.
So they could have easily won that game as well. The Rams.
And then they have to go on the road to Seattle, and you don't want to sleep on the Cardinals.
No.
Any division game.
Cardinals just signed Matt Barkley as a backup.
Yeah.
Yesterday, so he's got another Trojan.
Another Trojan.
Yeah, third Trojan in there. Well, Drew Stanton is done, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Seattle only beat them 22-16 or something. So they're not going to be. They're certainly not going to be a pushover. Yeah, Minnesota's fourth in total defense, giving up 18.3 points a game, and of course the Rams are number 1 in scoring. They've averaged 32.9 points. So that'll be a real test. Ram offense against that Minnesota defense.